Hi everybody, I'd like to welcome you to my video commentary on episode 515, Crazy Cupid Love of Gossip Girl. And if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, I run the blog, The Random Thoughts of a Writer. My Tumblr blog is also has the same title, The Random Thoughts of the Writer. I'll put both the web addresses for those in the information box on YouTube if you want to check those out. And I hope you enjoy what I post on those, especially my blog. I try to give that one the most attention. And I use my Tumblr to just give my posts that I write more and videos that I'm doing now more exposure. Anyway, here are my thoughts on this week's episode of Gossip Girl. All in all, I thought it was a good episode. It had some great moments, especially if you're a fan of the Dan and Blair friendship pairing, however you like to look at them. If you're not a Serena fan like me, this episode was very frustrating. She really ticks me off, and I also, in terms of how, my thoughts on Serena, I was also kind of mad at Blair. I know she was trying to do the right thing for her friends, which in her mind was to fix Serena up with Dan and try to get them back together. Of course, I hate the way Serena acts in general, especially the way she's been acting lately, and the way she has always behaved in her relationships. So the idea of Dan and Serena getting back together ticks me off if that happens. Fortunately, it looks like Serena's charm no longer works on Dan anymore, which that is in itself a gift from God, because it really used to annoy the hell out of me when he'd constantly go back and forth between saying, I want to be with Serena, I have feelings for her, to telling people, I just realized after I read that post on Gossip Girl, I don't have any feelings for her. It's like, okay, you keep bouncing back and forth, Dan. Which is it? It's nice to finally see Dan, hopefully, once and for all, over his Serena fixation. However, Serena, being the flakiest person in the universe, is once again thinking that she belongs with Dan and that he's the love of her life, although we know Dan hasn't always been the only guy that Serena's wanted to be with. I mean, there's Nate, there's Colin, there's Aaron Rose, Blair's stepbrother, and that's just to name a few. She's had so many guys over the season. Years of the show. I really don't care, that she's upset that Dan's not interested in her. The universe does not revolve around Serena, and she needs to realize that. And this episode really reinforced her narcissism for me yet again. And I think, it really irritates me that that's the case, because Serena, I was actually okay with, Serena for the most part this season. She wasn't, annoying the hell out of me like she did frequently last season and in the seasons before that. And it was nice to see that she wasn't always trying to, figure out which guy she wanted to be with. It was nice to see her do other things, start her blog, although it seems like she's always talking about it, but you never actually see her doing it. She's like, oh, I'm writing an article for my blog about how I'm going to die alone and need to get cats. Well, if that happens to Serena, I'll say, well, What goes around comes around. You treated the men in your life like shit. This is what you get. And so I frankly, like I said in my video commentary for last week's episode, I don't care that Serena's upset that Dan's not, worshiping the ground that she walks on anymore. I don't care if she's upset that Dan has feelings for Blair now. I'll just, to that I say, hold on, Serena, while I go get my violin to play for you, because she's just acting like a child, which, what else is new with that? And also in terms of characters that really frustrated me, there's Chuck. All through this, all season, Blair's frequently saying, oh, Chuck's changed, and Chuck's saying, oh, I've changed, Blair, we can be together. I can be the guy you need me to be. I can be the guy you want me to be. Well, if he started out being kind of good, he was cranky on Valentine's Day because he wasn't able to be with Blair. I can understand where that comes from. Valentine's Day can be a terrible, terrible day for people if you're not, in a relationship. If you're single, it can suck. I know that firsthand. At the moment, I hate Valentine's Day. And so I kind of felt for him there. Of course, he kind of had to ruin any sort of amount of sympathy that I had for him when he hooked up with Dan's agent, that he has for his books that he writes. And so that, to me, at the end of the episode, as soon as he did that, I'm like, why did I even for a moment feel sorry for you? You keep saying you've changed, and clearly this is classic you, Chuck. This is, he's the same old, narcissistic, abusive jackass he's always been, in my opinion. He's not going to change, and it sickens me that the executive producer / writer of the show, Josh Safran, I've seen it both ways, considers Chuck a romantic hero, and that, Blair and Chuck's romance is this epic romance that everybody should root for. To me, he's just condoning abusive relationships and saying that he's basically, by acting like Chuck and Blair need to be together and that the show should end up with them being together, that in my mind he's romanticizing abusive relationships, which I really do not understand how his view on love and relationships could get so twisted. I know I've never met the guy, but based on some of the comments I've read and, online, in the articles I've read regarding the storylines in the show, the way he talks about Chuck and Blair, it really disturbs me if he sees that as a healthy relationship that people can root for. It's sick and abusive. I know that Blair, she's no angel. She's done plenty of things to hurt Chuck over the years. But Chuck, he's done a lot worse. Of the two of them, he's done the most despicable things. He, in a fit of rage, smashed his fist through a window. He tried to pimp Blair out in order to save his hotel from his Uncle Jack. And, that's not, in my mind, how you should treat a woman that you supposedly consider to be your soulmate, and that she's the only one you want to be with. And just because she doesn't, seem to be acknowledging or reciprocating your feelings, that doesn't give you the right to go jump into bed with somebody that could hurt, somebody else that also has feelings for Blair. I don't, and he like claimed, he was telling Alexandra, Dan's agent, oh, Dan's my friend. Well, some friend you are, Chuck. You're getting into bed with her, and God only knows what's going to happen there. But I, once again, I continue to be annoyed to death by the whole Blair is stuck in her marriage to Louis apparently for a year because her family will basically be bankrupted if she tries to leave Louis now or cheats on Louis with, and yet Louis doesn't want anything to do with her. He, just it's all for show. He just wants the public to think they're together. I mean, I think Louis in France or Paris, or I can't even remember where if they said he was somewhere, if they gave a specific location.